Okay, fourth graders, for your assignment today, it's going to be pretty straightforward. We're just going to be practicing writing decimals in fraction form and written form and then back again. So let's get started. It's really important that you understand the place value system when you're converting fractions and decimals. So if you look down here to this chart, everything to the left of the decimal are our whole numbers. We have tens and ones. And then everything to our right of our decimal are amounts smaller than a whole. And it begins with the tenths. We never say once, okay? But pay attention to the THS on the end. It'll let you know you're talking about decimals. So we're just worried about tenths and hundredths. Okay, so up here I have the word 200ths. I'm going to write that in decimal form. So I said hundredths, I said the number 2, and then I said hundredths. So I knew down here that the 2 is going to go under the hundredths place value, and I'm not going to have anything under the tenths. So I'm going to write that as 0.02. So 2 hundredths because the 2 is in the hundredths place. To write that as a fraction, just write it like you say it, 2 hundredths. So let's do 6/10. Again, down here, I'm going to say the number, which is 6, and I know the 6 goes under the tenths. So to write it as a decimal, 0.6. I don't have any hundredths, so I don't have to put anything, or I can put a 0. You don't need to. 0.6 and 0.60 mean the same thing. And then to look at this as a fraction, I would just write 6/10. Okay, let's try this one. This one's a little bit different. What do you notice about this one? Whenever you see the word and, that means that you're talking about a mixed number. You have a whole number and then you have a fractional part or a decimal part. So here I have 5. The 5's going to go in the ones place. So I'm going to write 5. And then when I see the word and, that tells me, oh, I better put my decimal point. So I entered my decimal. And then I read my decimal part or my fractional part, 3200. So I just write the number I say, 3200. So this decimal, you read it as 5 and 3200. This tells me it's a mixed number. So I have 5, and then I'm going to have 3200. So this would be a mixed number. Okay, let's say we start from decimals and we want to put it into word form. Well, here we have 25 hundredths. The reason I say hundredths is because the last digit I say is in the hundredths place. So I say 25 hundredths. I'm going to write that in words. 25 hundredths. Now, when you say this, remember, it's not hundreds. We're saying hundredths. We're talking about decimals. So make sure you put that TH at the end. If I wanted to put this in fraction form, I just write 25/100, 25 hundredths. Okay, down here, again, if you notice, this is going to tell me right here that I am going to make a mixed number. I have a whole number and then a decimal part. So to write this in word form, I say my whole number first, 4. And I come to the decimal. So that tells me I'm going to write the word and. 4 and then I say the number I see in the decimal place value, which is 14. And then what word do you think I'm going to use? 4 and 14 what? Wouldn't be tens because I have a digit in the hundredths place. So I need to use the word hundredths. Okay, this one is, well, I'm going to say my decimal number, which is 5. And then the word I use is whatever place value the 5 is in. The 5 is in the tenths. So I'm going to write whole number 5 and then tenths, 5/10. Can you guess this one? Oh, let's go back here and write 4 and 14 hundredths. Again, this is a mixed number. So if I wanted to write this As a mixed number, I would write 4 and 1400ths. 5/10 would just be 5/10. Let's go this decimal. What do you think? How would we say that? I always like to give the tip as a, can you say this fraction out loud? Because ever how you say it out loud is how you're going to write it in written form. So I look at the digit, I say the number 7, and then what word I use is what place value it's in. Well, the 7's in the hundredths, so that would be 7 hundredths. And fraction form would just be 7/100. What if I have these fractions and I want to put them in decimal form? Okay, well, again, you say the fraction 68 hundredths, and then you write 0.8. Say the fraction 9/10, and make sure the 9, the 9 is in the tens place value, 0.9. It wouldn't be 0.09 because we said tenths, so make sure the 9's in the tens place. This one is a mixed number, so that means I'm going to have a whole number and then my decimal part. So 2 and, so here's my decimal, 4 hundredths. So I'm going to make sure the 4 is in the hundredths place value. I don't have any tenths, so I'm going to put a 0 for the tenths and then a 4 in the hundredths. This is how you would say 2 and 4 hundredths. Okay, if I give you a picture like so, and I said, what decimal do these pictures represent? Well, if I look up here, I have a whole and it's divided into 100 equal pieces. So I know my denominator is going to be 100, but how many of these 100 pieces are shaded? Well, if I count them all up, I would get 80/100ths. So this would look like in fraction form. And then to write that as a decimal, I would write so, 80/100ths. Okay, if I come over here, this picture, I have my whole. My whole's not broken up into hundreds, it's broken up into 10 equal pieces. So I know my denominator is going to be 10. So how many of the tenths are shaded? Well, 3 of them are shaded. So 3/10 for the fraction form, which is 0.3. 3 is in the tens place. Okay, so you're going to get problems similar to this. If you have any questions, please email me or message me. And please, please read the directions. Thank you.